Let's take a look at the round so far, and this shouldn't take long. It all happened on Friday night.
Hawthorn, far too good. They were too good early, and then a great fight back from the Swans in the third quarter, but the Hawks responded well with James Sicily going forward and was the difference.
All right, well, let's take a look at it. This was the scene in the box afterwards, and I tell you what, a win is a win, but when you do it from the get-go...
Rory, I heard them say that they weren't happy with their pre-season, and they were a bit on edge, the players going into this game, and they played like it.
Well, absolutely, what I love the most is, like, we saw some of their theatrics last year and how they celebrated goals and maybe a little over the top at times, but what I love, it looked like it was just down to business. They looked like they enjoyed themselves, but after every goal, it was just like, reset, we're coming here to do a job, and they certainly did that. They got there and got the chockies.
What's wrong with celebrating?
No, nothing. There's certainly times you can absolutely do it, and we want to see it in the game because it promotes a game. It makes it really fun for our younger generation coming through. But to me, it just looked like a mature side that went there for one job, and that was to get a win.
But the Hollywood Hawks, that whole persona, Damo, worked to their advantage. I mean, whether it be on-field success or membership drives or whatever, the Hollywood Hawks, it was beautiful.
Yeah, but I think this year, TJ, they know they've got a premiership that's on the offing. And last year they got themselves through to the second week of finals, lost that game by a kick, and they didn't have their best player, Will Day. It's all serious. They've recruited two blokes we'll talk about soon. I can see the sharpening up, to Rory's point, of this whole attitude. There'll be times, don't get me wrong, but I like the maturity of what they showed even within game on round one or opening round. Well,
let's head over to the Today Show's former AFL expert, Nathan Brown.
We talk about a lot about Sam Mitchell and the moves that were made the other night by Dean Cox, then Sam Mitchell, but it was in the first quarter, which I loved. They were short down in the forward half of the ground, but they pushed the ruckman forward, Meek, so at all times he was trying to push forward. So here he is. He's on Armadi at the moment. Just watch Armadi. It's in their forward line, just chasing the ball, so he realises there's big danger here. So Armadi, not sure what he's doing coming all the way out here. Here's Meek. But the big thing was, 6 of the first 8 goals they kicked were from their starting on ballers. They did not rest them on the bench. So Newcombe goes forward and puts pressure. So he's a big body, smart player, kicks their first goal. Then Will Day, he goes forward. Talking about kicking 3 goals from midfield, every one of his goals was when he was resting forward out of the goal square. So he goes forward. And then up comes Moore. So Moore comes in, and at the moment, Warple is forward. So there's nobody resting on the bench. And then again, Will Day, he's resting forward at this point. Great move by Sam Mitchell. Put pressure on the Sydney defenders. He gets a free kick here, kicks his second goal. 6 of the first 8 goals were kicked by Hawthorn midfielders who are resting forward.
And then you've got the big man department too of this club, which has changed with the recruitment of Josh Battle and Tom Barrass and the brilliance of James Sicily, who early in the piece just did what he has been doing most of his career, but then late in the piece you can see the score, you can see the need for the captain to step up, take a mark and then ultimately handball that ball to a goal being kicked. But he's a brilliant footballer, he's done it regularly over time, and it might just be, Lordo, that he might actually somehow be better with having Barrass and Battle there rather than, I suppose, one of the narratives over the off-season was how would he fit in?
There's no doubt he'll be better for having Barrass and Battle. I was disappointed in the Swans' big men, and that's the worry for them. Have they got a good enough forward line to kick a winning score? And Sicily was amazing in the first half, but this is a position you don't want to be in. Amadi and McCartan, who's joined that forward line, they got there too early, so you don't want to get there that early, otherwise you get pushed under the ball by good players. So that McCartan, he got caught behind in that situation, but this one, just got to be stronger. Joel Amadi, you don't want to be outmarked, particularly when it was a little bit of a wet night, and this is where McCartan got caught again. When you can get someone under the armpit and push them under the footy, you're in a lot of trouble. So wasn't good enough. Logan McDonald and McLean can come back, but I also don't think they're the answer either. So a little bit of a concern.
So you're worried about the McCartan project?
Yeah, I just think he's not a natural forward at all.
He's got to give it time though, Lordo. Like one game, he didn't play well. He didn't play well, but he's played there all summer. How long do you give it? If you're coach of Sydney, Dean Cox, how long do you give it?
6 weeks.
But his pre-season showed plenty of promise.
For one game, but I can see it personally. So any bet in 6 weeks' time, we're talking about McCartan not working.
Okay. Yeah. What did you make of Sydney, particularly their man-on-man efforts?
Yeah, so a lot's been made of Sydney's pre-season and how they're going to shape up defensively. And if we look at some footage here, we'll see they're obviously going very man-on-man at the moment. And we'll get the footage up. Here we go. So they're very man-on-man, but the risky run, pause there. The risky run at the moment, if you're so hard man-on-man, you forget to help each other out. And I reckon Dean Cox touched on it post-match. These are some tweaks they're going to have to make. So we talk about round one. It is only round one, but these tweaks will come. Pause again. If your man's irrelevant and out the other side of the ground, those Hawthorn players, I expect those Sydney players to come in and be able to chop that ball off. It's been in the air way too long, for far too long, to not help each other out. So again, round one, these are the tweaks they'll be looking to make over the coming weeks to sharpen up their defence.
You made mention of the big men, the Sydney big men. Brodie Grundy falls into that category.
Yeah, he was underdone, but his form over a number of years has been a bit of a concern. So he was just destroyed by Lloyd Meek. I thought he fought pretty hard after half time to at least even it out a little bit. But yeah, they'd want to have him improve on what he was, because I feel they're not a big midfield. So even Isaac Heaney during the week spoke and said, I'm not that big. And I thought they were monstered badly.
He got pushed around.
He got pushed around by Day and Warple and Newcombe.
You wonder what the effect of that knee knock that he copped about 2 weeks ago, just leading into this game, had on him in that night, because you're right, he'd fight back. But Dean Cox, Sydney Swans coach, first game as coach, he's got a fair bit to wade through, including the form of Brodie Grundy.
You know, the ability's a big body. You know, I think Brodie, the way to grind it into it, got better as the game went on. But, you know, we need to make sure that we get, from our senior players, some real consistent performances across 4 quarters to help these younger guys out.
A couple of injury concerns out of the match too, and a serious one potentially to James Warple. The Hawks are yet to diagnose this and release it publicly, but Brodie Grundy, the man we're just talking about there, rolled around the ankle of James Warple. Now they're hopeful it's a 1 to 2 week job. You can see he was taken out of the game with a moon boot on, and I suppose the fear is that it is a syndesmosis. And the other one from a taking out of the game perspective was Taylor Adams, who's had a fair bit of soft tissue, missed the finals campaign or the grand final last year for the Swans, and will be missing again for hamstring reasons.